Alrighty, boys, get hyped. It is time for a big boy pairing. This is our very first money match of the CALLOUS Invitational 3 tournament. That's right, the winner of this match and the other winner's bracket match cannot do worse than third place in this tournament. It is impossible. So whoever wins this set between two very, very strong ADV players is guaranteed money in this tournament. Third place is 20% of the overall prize pool, which right now sits at $755. So no matter what, the worst either of these players can do should they win this match is $150 and change, which is pretty darn good for playing online Pokemon. And this is a Clash of the Titans, make no mistake. These guys are both ADV mains who have played ADV in SPL for years. They've been around for a long time. They're accomplished. They are staples of the format. And they have very contrasting styles as well. We've got boring old crusty Asta, who generally sticks to very standard, tried and true, strong cores. And we've got Triangles, who is zany and wacky and likes to bust out all sorts of crap, busts out Houndoom, busts out Machamp, busts out weird sets. That is just the way the man plays. These guys know each other. They've played in SPL and whatever other tournaments a number of times. They respect each other, and now they are here playing for hundreds of dollars. Our first money match of the tour. Cannot wait for this set. This is the biggest pairing of the tour. Let's see how it unfolds. Triangles on the bottom, Asta on the top, best of three, game one, Cloyster lead, and T-Tar lead. Cloyster an unusual lead, by the way, but he's trying to set up those spikes immediately. I don't like Cloyster lead because it is not good against the most common leads in the game right now, which are Zapdos and T-Tar, followed by a third place Metagross, all of which I think actually have an advantage against Cloyster, so I don't necessarily like leading with Cloyster. I don't mind Cloyster, I just don't know that I like leading with Cloyster. And Asta does, in fact, seem to have a very standard TSS at the moment. In fact, the last three could easily be the most standard things in all of ADV, Swampert, Skarmory, and Gengar, respectively. Triangle's team a little more wacky here. We've seen, I mean, it looks like just a Cloyster offense team of some kind, but I mean, it could be balanced, I suppose, but we've seen double wall. Okay. He's got both Cloyster and Claydol together, actually. Alright, I don't know about that. That makes me doubt that the Cloyster actually has Rapid Spin. It could just be like Spikes, Surf, Ice Beam, Boom, or maybe it's got Toxic somewhere. But if you've got a Claydol, I don't see the point of having Spin on Cloyster. Interesting team here from Triangles, and Asta actually has a Moltres in the back, so that's probably in the Gengar spot. So it's probably Last Poke Swampert from Asta, you would think. I mean, it can't be Gengar, right? He just doesn't have a bulky water. Very interesting what they both opted to do here. Asta sticking mostly standard. Moltres has actually been very underutilized in this tour so far, in my opinion. I'm surprised with how good and common it is on ladder and how well liked it is among top ADV players such as Lanier and Sunny that it has not been more loved in this tour. Perhaps some of the older ADV players in this tour have not yet caught on to or bought into Moltres, which I think is a very good Pokemon and very strong against the predominant TSS teams that are just ever present in this tour. Triangle's team, on the other hand, I don't know what to tell you. Cloyster plus Claydol is a very awkward pairing. I don't know that I hate it, but it's not something I'm uber familiar with or that is at all common. So we'll see how it plays out, but it looks like some kind of Cloyster balanced offense-ish hybrid for Triangles, and I have no idea what his last poke is, but right now Triangles' team looks very Heracross weak, which, yeah, I mean, there's no way Asta's last poke is Heracross, so it's not going to matter here, and in fact, we do see the last poke, unsurprisingly, Swampert. I'm sure Triangles knew that. Yeah, just a lot of scouting going on at the moment. Counter there is the attempt from T-Tar, so that's going to be just another example of what I illustrated earlier on in kind of the pregame talk, where Triangles is not remotely afraid to bust out weird stuff like that. I cannot picture Asta using a counter T-Tar like at all. I'd be shocked if he were to do that. But for triangles, that's standard fare. That is right up his alley, and in fact, he did try it, but it did not work. It was a switch to Skarm on the counter turn. 3 layers of spikes are down, but we know that there's a spinner. We don't know if Cloyster has spin or not. He's shown spikes, ice beam, surf, so probably just last move boom. But in theory, he could have spin. Claydol obviously definitely has it. And hey, there's Claydol. He gets roared out at the perfect time. We know there's no Dugtrio for Asta, so there's no reason not to sit in here and spam Rapid Spin. Worst thing that's going to happen is a Drill Pack, and I think trading a 17% Drill Pack for removing 3 layers of spikes is probably a pretty decent option. And the last poke for triangles is Gengar. Very interesting team, very creative for triangles. I dig it. The Gengar, we'll see if it ends up being a threat here. There's obviously a Blissey on the other side. It is possible that this is a boom spam team for triangles. It is definitely possible that some or all of the Cloyster, the Claydol, and the Gengar have boom. It's not a DD-Tar that he would be booming down to, and it's also not a Sweeper Rachi. It's a Body Slam variant, which is called Astarachi, which is ironic, given that he is, in fact, against Asta. So I believe the last poke setup mon would be this Coon here. Roar, Surf, Rest, and, I mean, I would think Calm Mind is the last move. It could be no Calm Mind. It could have Sleep Talk. But I believe if it is, in fact, Boom Spam here, then what he's going for is setting up the Coon. And he also has like a mini Spikes plus Gengar protection theme going on, which is pretty cool. So this is actually a really well-designed team, I think, from Triangles. I actually really like it a lot. Whether or not it's going to play out the way he wants it to this game, I'm not sure. And full power on that turn is really crappy because he could have gotten a Body Slam off there and had a 60% chance of paralyzing, which effectively just utterly neutralizes the Dugtrio. But he was fully paralyzed at a bad time. At least Gengar thaws here, gets a Will-O-Wisp on T-Tar, gonna find himself burnt, and he sneaks away without a pursuit, which he's unlikely to have with Rock Slide and Earthquake shown. So that Will-O-Wisp is actually really crippling to the Tar unless the Blissey has Heal Bell or Aromatherapy, which seems really unlikely given what he's already showed. Thunderbolt, Soft-Boiled Ice Beam, you've got to think the last move is Calm Mind, but even if it's not, it would probably be like S-Toss, right? I mean, or Toxic. There's no way that it's going to be Aromatherapy or Heal Bell. So I believe that that burn is there to stay, and it's actually very crippling for Asta. That being said, Asta does simply have the Pokemon lead at the moment, but Triangles has the Spikes advantage as well, since he does have the Claydol, which Asta doesn't seem to have a good answer for, and this is a non-toxic variant of Skarm with Spikes, Drill Peck, Protect, and Roar, so even if the Claydol does have Boom over Refresh, the Skarm cannot actually poison it. Gengar sneaks in on a Protect turn here. Blissey is at 64%, relatively safe from the Gengar here. We don't actually know what it has other than Thunderbolt and Will-O-Wisp. If it is a WoW Taunt variant, for example, that would actually be really good against the Blissey in this situation. However, Triangle is going to over-predict here and go for Will-O-Wisp again against the already burnt T-Tar. However, the T-Tar does not have Pursuit, so Gengar can just sneak away safely, and we end up with this matchup again of Claydol against Skarm. Drill Pack comes down, and so does Rapid Spin. I don't know if I love this as much from Triangles, however, because all you're doing is letting the Skarm sit here and gain lefties. He's trying to not get his Gengar Drill Packed, which is why Triangles has not made the switch yet. And he's just putting a little bit of pressure on the Skarm. I mean, the Psychics don't do a lot, but it's more than nothing. Gengar comes on at this point trying to commit on Protect. Asta does not fall for that, and he gets the Drill Peck off, and Gengar cannot live another one, but the Skarm obviously has to be a little bit afraid of Thunderbolt here. And Gengar goes Will-O-Wisp, which had it connected would have kept him out of Drill Peck range because of the attack reduction associated with the burn. He's going to connect with Swampert here, which is shown Surf, Roar, Protect. Very well could be last move Refresh. This could be a Mono Pert. But if it is, he doesn't show that here. He goes Moltres here, gets that in on the Cloyster. Cloyster in some trouble here. Cannot live an attack from Moltres, whether it is a Grass or a Fire attack. And a critical hit there is pretty darn bad for Triangles. 81% hidden power on the way in. Flamethrower, so of note he has both Flamethrower and Overheat here, but Flamethrower from that HP is going to be enough, and T-Tar going to faint. Destiny Bond trying to take Moltres down with him. He is successful in that endeavor, but Triangles is still behind by 2 Pokemon here, and the Cloyster seems very close to joining his fallen comrades in the Pokemon afterlife. Oh, geez, especially like that. He's going to blow up into a protect, and Triangle's in some deep doo-doo here. He might be trying to blow up down to a last poke Coon and win that way. That might be his only hope at this point. He does get a rapid spin off. T-Tar comes in. T-Tar gets out of the way, so Asta saves that as fodder, which could be very useful later to prevent the Coon from resting or something on a crucial turn. Drill Peck rapid spin. This is going to go absolutely nowhere for Triangles. All that's going to happen is the Skarm is going to sit there and lefties up. But Triangles really doesn't have a lot of options at this point. He's just spamming rapid spin. See where it goes. Psychic there, 12%, and a Specs drop to kind of sort of help the situation. Drill Peck again. Psychic again, for lack of anything better to do. They're now doing 17% after the Specs drop, which is still pretty underwhelming. But like I said, Triangle's options are pretty limited at this point. Swampert comes in. He's burnt, and he steps on 3 layers of spikes. Rapid Spin does get rid of the 1 spike, which hardly matters at this point for Triangles. And Coon comes in. Let's see where he is. He has killed 1 sleep turn. Still don't know the last move, but you've got to assume it's Calm Mind. It pretty much needs to be Calm Mind in order for him to win the game from this position, but that is yet to be determined. Scar makes his appearance. As Coon kills the sleep turn, he'll wake up on his next attempt to do so. There's Roar. Coon comes back. Whether or not the Coon can meaningfully pressure this Skarm is yet to be determined. There is the Drill Peck. There is the Roar that's going to drag out Blissey. We know she has Thunderbolt, so that was probably not what he wanted to roar out given the circumstances. Claydol comes in just in case Bliss goes for straight Thunderbolt, and she does not. She goes soft-boiled here. Maybe he's trying to blow up on the Blissey. Asta obviously not going to allow that. There is Earthquake. Maybe that would have crit the Blissey, but again, Asta not going to allow that. He's got a very safe switch in the Skarm here. And Claydol has shown all but 1 move. The last move could be Boom, but even if it were, that would be very short of killing the Skarm here. Coon is going to be the last and only hope for Triangles at some point. The Claydol is not dead just yet, though it may be sooner rather than later. It's either going to be the Coon winning or not for Triangles. Asta still has 5 Pokemon left. We don't know the nature of the Dugtrio. In this case, he would prefer it to be Adamant because it hits the Coon faster and harder rather, and it of course is going to be faster than the Coon either way, whether it is Adamant or whether it is Jolly. And if Triangles does have Boom as the last move, he certainly has not shown that. It might just be last move refresh, but he has not shown that the whole time. Coon comes in. It is awake at the moment. It's at 33%. He goes straight rest here. Asta going to respond by simply roaring it out. Here's Claydol, 15% after lefties, still in the red. Coon comes in once again. Drill Peck there looking for the knockout blow on Claydol, but Triangles is not ready to let it go just yet. T-Tar gets foddered off here, preventing Coon from killing a sleep turn. That's going to let the Blissey come in. We know that it's Bolt Beam. Coon has not killed a single turn thanks to that smart fodder from Asta, so this is a very bad position for Triangles. In fact, this Blissey might just clean up the game here. This is why we save our fodder. Earthquake there, not good enough. He would have needed to Boom there, so I think it was just last move refresh. And I believe the Blissey wins now. Can just spam Thunderbolt against a Coon that is not going to wake up. And even if something goes wrong, there is a Dugtrio in the back. So Asta makes great use of his fodder, which is exactly why we keep it around. He prevented the rest, and now Blissey is looking to clean this game up. Coon has no choice but to wake up and rest once again. And I don't know where this is possibly going. I believe the answer is nowhere, because Blissey will get 2 more Thunderbolts off before Coon wakes up, and that means game 1 is going to go to Astamatitos. He does it in style, in fact, with a critical hit, but even without that crit, Asta would have won. This one fairly one-sided, 4-0 victory for Asta, and he is going to be 1 game away from being the first player in CALLOUS Invitational 3 from having guaranteed cash money in this tour. Triangles is going to have to rally back and win 2 games against Asta in a row, a tall task, in order to secure his spot in the money. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and game 2 is coming up next.